was an article that came out. One of the medical news was saying omega-3 supplements may be more effective in preventing autoimmune diseases. And they go in to say that a recent study showed that 2 years after a 5-year trial period, the benefits of vitamin D in preventing autoimmune disease had waned, while those with omega-3 were still strong. So here's what I want to talk about with this. And this is kind of giving you insight to a naturopathic perspective. Okay. So this article is leaning towards the allopathic perspective. If you take fish oils, you will prevent autoimmune disease. Vitamin D may or may not. Like, that's what they're saying, right? So let's think about this from a different way. What does an omega-3 do? It's an anti-inflammatory, right? So, and vitamin D, of course, is going to see great benefit, and then your levels are going to normalize. So taking additional vitamin D at that point may not be useful, right? Autoimmune is linked to low vitamin D. So when your vitamin Ds are level, of course, adding additional vitamin D is not going to make as much of a difference because you're already there, right? So when we talk about omega-3, we look at this from two different perspectives. It's like the allopathic model is going to say, take this pill, prevent disease. The naturopathic is going to say, well, of course, because it's anti-inflammatory. So you could do that 1,000 different ways. You could do an anti-inflammatory diet. You could do stress reduction. You could add the addition of omega-3. But is it the omega-3 itself that's doing it? Or is it the action of the omega-3 that's preventing the autoimmune disease? And these are the questions as a naturopathic physician that we go into, because I think so often we're just looking for that pill to just fix something. But we need to pay attention to what that pill does, even if it's a supplement. So is omega-3 the magic bullet to preventing autoimmune disease? I don't think so. I think an anti-inflammatory lifestyle and supplementing the body with supplements that help support that immune response and that inflammatory response is what's the magic ticket, right? So I think at some point, if somebody's taking omega-3s for 2-3 years, but they're not doing the other things in their life that are lowering inflammation, they're going to find that it runs out of effectiveness as well, just like vitamin D, and the numbers are going to start to switch. I really encourage all of you, when you read these studies, any of the medical studies out there, to think about it a little bit deeper than what it is, right? Because we're really looking at a lot of clickbait per se. Now, do I think people shouldn't take omega-3s? Of course, I use omega-3s in my patients all the time. This has nothing to do with the omega-3. Omega-3s are fantastic, but it's not as simple as just taking omega-3 to reverse autoimmune disease. It's about what it does. Does that make sense? Look at who is funding the research. Right, exactly. And you know what? This one, I didn't go to the PubMed article this morning because just the headline alone gave me content to chat about and just kind of reading it. But I guarantee you, they are taking funding to research these things. And I'll be honest with you, it's a lot simpler than that. We don't have to put all this funds into research. The bottom line is that our body needs good fats to function. It needs a proper metabolism. And when you do that through your diet, through your lifestyle, through supplementation, if you need extra, and you focus on the body in a holistic way, you're going to have prevention of all diseases, not just autoimmunity. You're going to have an impact on the cardiovascular system. You're going to have the immune system, the thyroid, the hormones, the mood, the sleep, everything that we deal with in our society is impacted when you look at the entire being and the metabolism of the being. And the stress that we keep ourselves under slows this process down, which is why we develop diseases, right? Why we develop nutrient deficiencies in the first place. You can't absorb the omega-3s from an avocado if you're in the woods running from a bear, right? So I should add a fish oil to my supplement line. I could, but if you work with me, you'll learn that I put it in the diet. So you don't need it, right? So if you're eating the right diet, you get enough fats. If your stress is reduced, you will absorb them better. So what I find is I could give you supplements all day long. You could take an omega-3, but if you're under stress, you're not going to absorb it anyway. And then you're throwing money out the window. Does anyone want to throw money out the window, especially right now? No. We need to learn how to do this so that we don't have to spend all this money on supplements, and you're just doing the supplements that replete what you need for this particular time in your life. And this changes over time. Any of my patients out there will tell you, I may have them on one regimen for a certain length of time, and then I may start switching it. Why? Because I'm moving with what their body's telling me and what their body's doing to heal, right? what their body's taking back over, I can get rid of. And then it's like, okay, well, the next area of the pathway is this one. So now we got to go in there and we got to get that optimized, and then we'll move on to the next one, right? This isn't to take this solution. And I think if we start looking in medicine in that way, we're going to see changes in health, significant changes in health. And we do in the naturopathic world and the functional medicine world. It's just a different look at it. Does that make sense? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that. If I made sense in that, because I do think it's a really important point, especially as we're just loaded with infobesity, right? We just have info coming at us from every different direction. Take this for this, take that for this, take this, don't take this. We told you to take this. Now we're not going to take this. But I mean, it's like, is anyone else's head swirling from health news lines, especially in the last many years? I'm a physician and mine swirls a little bit. I'm like, what the heck? Like, and then it's funny because I read the article and I'm like, well, yeah, that hasn't changed. Of course, we need to have an anti-inflammatory situation to avoid autoimmune disease. Of course, vitamin D will work for a while in reducing autoimmunity because they're low in vitamin D. But then when they hit the levels, they're not low in it anymore. So it's not the factor. You move on. Then you have to go to the next level of care. That's when that vitamin D supplement gets reduced, lowered, maintained, right?